Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here we go again. It is the gift that keeps on giving, that is these two. And now we have another interview because, well, we haven't had one for, a good few months now. So clearly it's that time where Harry or Meghan need to give an interview to give their perspective for the millionth time. So I'm going to be breaking down the things that have come out already. I'm going to be showing you, as I always do, the body language and the way Harry words things and discussing just, the ins and outs of all of that. So if this is a channel that interests you, where I don't just show what is out there on the mainstream media, I break it down using my professional knowledge, which is I am a psychotherapist and I have been in this field for nearly 20 years. So if you want to understand a little bit more about what they're doing, then this could be the channel for you. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you do not miss future uploads. So that being said, let's dive right in. So for those of you who do not want to watch this part, you can fast forward to the main part of the video. There is a timestamp, but this is for those of you who enjoy the drink of choice that I have been doing since the beginning. And originally I was doing this myself, but now, so you can be part of this channel, I am inviting you to send in your videos where you grab your drink of choice, you add a little something to it, because as the flag says behind me, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So if you want to send in your videos, regardless what they are, you can be as creative as possible. You don't even have to be on camera. Just send them across to the email that's going along the bottom here now. So here is the latest one. Please give them some love and I will see you in a minute. So Harry, again, has done an interview. And I'm sure like many of you out there, I feel like, when is this going to stop? And I do have a lot of people that say to me, why do they keep doing this? What is the reason? And I've said this before, it's because they very much need the narrative to change. Harry and Meghan know they're very disliked. They know this now. And as much as Meghan is in her own little world doing what she does, so is Harry. And I think that he is very desperate for the narrative to change, the tide to turn, where people start seeing him as a victim. People start feeling sorry for him, because this is what he wants. He wants this to change. But the unfortunate thing with Harry is that it's not going to. All the time he keeps doing this. Because the fact is, for some reason, he is failing to understand that he is just as culpable. You cannot go on TV and complain, take people to court, when you're doing the exact same thing. It's like they say, people in glass houses should not throw stones. And Harry is doing exactly this. When he is taking these newspapers to court, now don't get me wrong, I don't agree with hacking. I don't agree with, being deceptive in getting someone's information and then putting it out publicly. Of course I don't. But the problem you have is that people find it very difficult to sympathise or empathise with Harry due to, A, he is a very, very privileged individual with a lot of money. And so he is able to, this whole thing where he says at one point, I'm doing this for everybody. No, you're not, Harry. You're doing this for you, because when you get your payout, are you giving that to charity? Are you giving that to say some foundation that can help? No, you're pocketing it. So how are you doing this for everybody? You're doing this for yourself. And I think that that is part of the problem, is that people see through this. Harry seems to think that we're all dense. He treats people in a way that how he is himself. He feels that if he does this for everybody, then it's going to create him to look as if he's the saviour, he's the hero. But actually, people are not stupid, and they know he's doing it for himself. And he's doing this again and again and again. And the problem also is that he is doing the exact same thing. How can you go on TV and talk about how poor you and these people have hacked into you and that they've taken private information? He brings up Chelsea. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel Chelsea isn't innocent in this, but he is the one that's brought it to the forefront. He has brought Chelsea into this again. And not only that, he has gone on interviews, Oprah, Me You Can't See, or rather I wish we didn't, and divulged private information, things that wasn't out there. He has done a Netflix docu-series where he has disclosed private texts and private information about his family and other people. You know, let's not forget the woman that he claimed to have had sexual relations with at the back of a pub, and made it seem like she was an older woman, in a way forcing her to come out and say, actually, no, we were the same age. So they don't matter then. Their privacy doesn't matter. As long as Harry is doing what he's doing, that doesn't matter. Going on and writing in your book private information, talking about how you unalived 25 Taliban, allegedly. Not thinking about the repercussions of what could happen if you do that. He's a hypocrite. And that is the problem that he is not seeing. If you're going to go after somebody, you want to at least make sure that you're not doing the same thing. It's hypocritical to attack a newspaper for hacking when, in a sense, you've kind of done the same thing. You haven't asked these people for their permission to mention them when you humiliated one of your teachers in your book. You know, talking about how you ridiculed her disability, ridiculed her size. Did you think about her? When you recently were up on stage collecting an award for where you actually haven't done anything, instead of giving it to the veterans, you're standing there going, oh, I'm doing this for all of Invictus. No, Harry, you're doing it for you. And this is what people are seeing. And this is why nobody is buying what you're selling. So this is what we have. Again, another interview where he acts as if he's the victim. He's doing this for everybody else. And this is what I'm going to break down. Now, I understand that it's difficult to keep up with everything. I've been asked to slow things down. I've been asked to keep the captions up for longer. Unfortunately, when you're showing body language, it's difficult to do that because sometimes it's a micro expression. So even though I put the caption up and I can slow it down, if it's only so many seconds, even if I slow it down, there's only so long that caption, that section of video is going to go up for. So what I say to you is, I think you can slow down the YouTube video. So I think it's at the bottom corner, or there's something you can do to slow down the speed of the video. So then it can be a bit easier for you to watch. What I will try to do is I will maybe repeat things 2 or 3 times so you can see it, and then I can repeat the caption. So I'll do it the best way I can. So, but a lot of the time you're going to have to pause, sometimes rewind and go back, or like I say, slow the video down. But I will do my very best to make this a little bit easier for you to follow.
I don't think there's anybody else in the world that is better suited and placed to be able to see this through than myself.
But he fears negative tabloid narratives endanger him and his family.
All it takes is one lone actor, one person who reads this stuff to act on what they have read. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. And whether it's a knife or acid, whatever it is, and these are things that are a genuine concern for me. One of the reasons why I won't bring my wife back to this country. One of the reasons why I won't bring my wife back to this country.
You said in court documents that the Queen, your granny as you call her, supported your claim. Your granny as you call her, supported your claim. What do you think she would think of what you're doing now?
I wish we had many conversations before she passed. This is very much something that she supported.
What do you think she would think of what you're doing now?
I wish we had many conversations before she passed. This is very much something that she supported. She knew how much this meant to me. I mean, she's very much up there going, see this through to the end, without question.
So here we have a quick interval, so go grab yourself a cuppa or whatever it is if you don't want to watch this bit, or fast forward, because here we have the bubble members and the bubble member shout out. And if you want to be part of this, then you can join up. You just got to click join where it's next to the subscribe button. And the fantastic member shout out this week is On My Last Nerve, Via Logan and Hell Bell 666. So congratulations you guys, and well done to everyone who has been joining up as a member. So keep an eye out for you to be called out. If you want to treat me to a cuppa at this point of the video, then you can. The link is in the description box below, or it's also just above the subscribe button. There is a little yellow icon with a picture of a coffee cup. You can also choose this time to go and subscribe to my other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, my other channel, which is Coffee and Crime. You can also go across and subscribe to those now. But for those of you who want the links, they are in the description box below, but they're also at the end of this video. So you can fast forward, go to the end, and you will see the two circles, which are the two channels, and other videos that I've linked into this particular one as well. So as you can see, this is Harry all over. Like I've said to you before, this is Harry again proclaiming to be a victim. There is no learning with Harry. You've got to remember, this man is nearly 40 years of age. He is coming up to 40 years of age, and we are still going on the same thing. And if he also thinks that we don't believe this is also not about money, I think as well what happens is that he is annoyed that William got the amount he did. And remember as well that he never mentions that William gave his payout to, I believe, Invictus and I think another charity as well. Is it Centerbar, I think he gave his payout to? He never mentions that. He creates it to look as if William got this huge payout and swanned off with the money. So he always seems to leave that part out. But the fact is, I think he is angry that William got this payout that he didn't get. So the fact is, again, he brings his mother into this again, and it is so boring now. The fact is, him and William made a pact. I believe it was 2017. They made a pact never to talk about their mother unless I guess it was in a positive light. Harry has completely gone against that, but again, doesn't seem to care about the impact this is going to have on his brother, the impact this might even have on his father and even Queen Camilla. None of that matters to Harry because it is all about himself. He is a very selfish, entitled person, because if you have empathy, if you care, then you care enough to think, I'm not going to mention those things. You put yourself last, and you put the people that you love and care about first. And Harry doesn't do that. He puts himself first. The other interesting thing I thought, and as I mentioned in the interviews and the video when it happened, is that he talks about, this is the reason why I do not bring my wife to this country. Not my family. And if you've already seen, I've already shown the video on, I believe it was on my Instagram, where there was an interview with a royal reporter who talks about when Harry and Meghan presented Archie. And I'm actually going to mention this here as well, because it was very interesting to me that he says Harry's son or Harry's child, Archie. He doesn't say their child, Harry and Meghan's child. He says Harry's child or Harry's son, Archie. And I'm going to just show you this here now so you can see this.
Children. But I mean, I say this, but Harry's baby Archie was almost teething before we found out it was born. You know, I mean, it was. We were led to believe that she was gone into labour at 2:00 when the baby had been born many hours earlier. We were led to believe it was going to be a home birth, and it was at a hospital. There was that. The whole thing was just stage managed to suit them.
So here we have the two things. We have Harry in this interview stating, this is why I do not bring my wife to this country. Not my family, not my wife and my children, my wife. And also the fact that this royal reporter who has been in the inner circle for years says Harry's son. Sorry, I believe Harry's son. And I think, like I've said before, all these little things to me are proving what I have been saying from the very, very beginning, and others are catching up on now, that this child that is, we know as Archie, because I'm not even sure if I even believe that's his real name anyway, but this child is Harry's child, not Meghan's. Because when you are talking about somebody naturally, your subconscious kicks in as well as your conscious, because you're not forcing yourself to think, you're not forcing yourself to lie. That's why body language is very, very important. And so when you're naturally talking about somebody, like they were talking about the child, you would say their child or Harry and Meghan's son. You wouldn't say Harry's son. And some have said this, and I've said this before, it is interesting that Archie is called Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. Now, okay, that could be a coinkydink, but part of me doesn't believe that. And so is it that, like I've said, that Archie is Harry's son? He doesn't say, when I'm coming to, this is why I do not bring my family to the UK. It's why I do not bring my wife. Then he goes on to talk about how he's concerned that somebody might throw acid at him. What for? What? The bizarre behaviour from Harry is bizarre. To talk about the fact, so I mean, if he was this scared, for example, like I've said before, why does it? If he's worried about these things happening, how comes he's always over here? So what he's basically saying is he's saying that he's concerned that people dislike Meghan so much that they're going to get close enough to throw acid at her. I have never heard anything so ridiculous in my life, and I wonder who has put that in his head. Because, not being funny, she's disliked in America, she's disliked in Australia, she's disliked pretty much in most places. But the way he depicts this, it's as if he must have security here because the threat is here. When actually, you can go anywhere and there be a threat to anybody. But the other thing as well is, why wasn't he that worried about that when he said what he said in regards to who he unalived in his book? The lies that he constantly tell, if you are that concerned about your safety, you would stop doing things to antagonize the situation. You would stop lying. You would go and be private. But Harry's behavior and body language are the opposite to the words that come out of his mouth. His behavior and actions do not show somebody that is concerned and worried about their safety. He has brought Meghan over here before. Was it a couple of years ago? They were in Manchester, so he wasn't concerned then. When they came over for the late Queen's funeral, well, he wasn't concerned then. When he came over for the Jubilee, not concerned then. The fact that he thinks that we're stupid, the fact that he thinks that we are not sitting here going, this is not about you feeling unsafe, Harry. This is about you wanting IPP status. This is about you wanting what your ego had before. When you were part of the royal family, you felt like the big person. And that is why I have always said he did not want to leave. Harry enjoyed all the adulation that he got with being part of the royal family. He loved the fact that he got the police escorts and there was all this fanfare everywhere he went. And that's why when he went to Nigeria, and this is nothing against anyone that watches this that is Nigerian or South African or African or whoever, but there are countries that they have gone to that are deeply unsafe. They were warned against going there and yet they still went. They don't care. Harry wants what he had in the royal family, and that's why everywhere they go or what they do, they try to recreate it. And that is why they use Invictus, because it's the only moment where they get some level of security, where they get, in a way, treated special. There isn't anywhere else. And that's why they recreate these faux royal tour situations, because again, they are desperate to be treated like they are important. And that is what Harry misses. He did not want to leave. Like I've said before, I truly think that he left because he was put in a situation where Meghan was booted out. She went to Canada. She did the pap walk with the fake child in the harness. And then all of a sudden, Harry was over in Canada, because that was the moment when I believe the royal family said, you've got to rein her in. She knows too much and that is a threat. You don't do a pap walk holding a doll, and let's be honest, it was a doll, if there isn't a reason. Everything Meghan does is there's an agenda behind it. She knew that this was going to get back to the royal family. She knew that Harry was in the UK at that time at the Sandringham Summit. She knows too much and they needed to rein her in. And Harry has begrudged that ever since, because what I think is that Meghan believes that she's owed an apology due to the fact that she protected Harry. Because if you're going with my theory of that Harry got somebody pregnant, which is, like I've said, those other two situations where he says, is why I can't bring my wife to the UK, not my family, and the royal reporter saying Harry's son, I believe that he got somebody pregnant. And if you haven't seen my other videos, go and watch those. If you go onto the playlist, The Children, it explains my thought process in regards to that. But that explains why I believe Meghan feels that she's owed an apology, because in her mind, she protected Harry. She went along with this fake pregnancy to protect him. Now, she doesn't do that because she loves him. She does it because it's leverage. But that is what she'll be telling him. I did this for you. And if you leave, I'm going to tell everyone. I'm going to say that you made me do it, etc. We know that narcissists are capable of doing the worst kind of things. And so Harry was forced into a situation of his own making, but this is why he's angry with the royal family, because they didn't protect him. Even though they kind of did, because they lied as well, but they went along with it, I think, to protect the real mother and to protect the child in a sense. So that's why the child we saw before Megxit, I believe, was potentially the real Archie. I'm not saying for definite, potentially. But since Megxit, we've never seen that child again. Ever. So this is what I think is happening. I think that Harry is angry at his family because they didn't protect him, in his mind. Not saying that they did or didn't, but in his mind. And he has been forced into a situation with Meghan where he's got to stay with her now. It's gone too far. And the problem with Harry is that he's never faced consequences. All the time when he was growing up, he got let off things, they hid things, they protected him, and this is what is the result of this now. It's the same as Meghan when she was never told no. She was given everything by her father, spoiled. And I get it. Believe you me, I do. And it's not the fact that he thought for 1 second that she was going to grow up and go into and behave this way. Neither did the royal family think Harry was going to do this. But here we are. This is what happens when you have a lack of consequences and you have entitlement. Harry believes that he is owed everything. He has never had to work a day in his life. He has had no consequences for anything. And the problem you have now is that his brother has always bailed him out. His brother has always protected him, or at some points Harry probably protected his brother when they were younger. They had a close relationship, albeit probably a bit volatile. Since Meghan's come along and this situation has happened, and then Harry has turned on his brother, turned on his family, William has cut ties and said, enough's enough, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm done. And Harry isn't used to that. Harry is used to behaving badly and then having everyone go, oh, there, Harry, it's okay, we'll sort this out, all is forgiven. Suddenly now he's not being forgiven by the one person it matters, and that's his brother. So this is why he's constantly, I've said before that I believe he has arrested development. You know, there's definitely a delayed maturity with Harry. And the problem you have is that he behaves like when a lot of children do things to get attention. This is what Harry is doing. But the problem is he's nearly 40. So it's not cute anymore. It's not funny anymore. It's not something that you can go, oh, he's only young, bless him. It's okay. You don't get that anymore. And his brother has said, I'm done. And Harry can't deal with that. He cannot deal with the fact that his brother is done with him. So he's constantly trying to do things without actually assessing the fact that he needs to stop. All he's doing is creating the wound to be opened again and again and again and again. It's like sticking a plaster on, ripping it off before it's healed. That's what Harry does. And if he thinks that this interview is going to create his family to go, oh yeah, Harry, yeah, you're absolutely right, we need to sort this out. It's not. It's going to anger them all over again. So it's literally like Groundhog Day for the royal family. They're like, oh, another interview again. And little by little, people are getting sick and tired. So even the small amount of people that have been supporting them are getting tired of the same story, the same thing repeated, the same whinging and whining when we've got so many other things to worry about in the real world. Harry doesn't live in the real world. Harry lives in his strange little bubble. And this is the problem. So anyway, so let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you feel that there's more to this? And as more of this interview comes out, I will be doing a bit more of that in the coming weeks to show you what I'm seeing, if it's different from anything else. So in the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. And I will hopefully see you next week in another video. Don't forget to go across to my Coffee and Crime, where my new video going up is going to be on the terrible tragedy that was Sonia Massey. And I don't know if any of you have seen that, but there was a horrendous situation, very, very tragic indeed, where this beautiful young lady lost her life at the hands of a, in my opinion, corrupt cop. So if you haven't seen that, or you want to understand a little bit more about that, go over there because I break that down anyway. So yeah, please go and support that channel as well. So in the meantime, like I say, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. As always, take care. I love you. I appreciate you. But most of all, I respect you. Bye-bye.